Hi everyone, it's Heidi from Joyful Artistry, and I'm here today to do the complete flip through of my art journal. I created a 6-part series. If you haven't seen it, hop on to my YouTube channel and my series will be up there. So it's a 6-part series. It goes from very beginning to the end to this point. And I just wanted to do a quick flip through of what it looks like completed, because I didn't do that the other day. And I did have a couple things that were not finished in the book that I finished. And that's at the end. I didn't sew the tags, but I did that. So here's my girl. This is an image that came out of a children's art book. And the book itself is a wildflower book that I tore out I took out the center, all of the pages, and then I added my own pages. This journal has 2 signatures in it. I took the spine and covered it with a lace tablecloth. Underneath this darker section here under the tablecloth piece is a piece of a pillowcase. I didn't have some muslin, but I had this fabulous pillowcase that was very worn, very loved. And I like the way that it looks under here. It's a off-white. Added some lace, and this is a doily. This is a doily here that I put underneath, a vintage button, some cheesecloth, and this is cut from a doily. And down here, I added a little bit of washi tape. I added the word image. Oh, I've got stuff stuck to my ring. Image with a little butterfly punch that I did. Underneath her to cover, I don't know if you can, well, actually, let me flip it over. I collaged on the whole book on the front and back. I ended up covering it all up on the front. But as you could tell, when I pulled up the edge on the front, you could see a little bit of what's under here. And these are just music paper, dictionary pages, book pages, German book pages. This is out of a Harper's magazine. It's the summer camps. I want to say it's from the 20s, but don't quote me on that. So anyway, so let's, I'm going to open this up. I created a little closure. This is a completely removable closure. If you don't want one on here, you can take this and shorten it if you want it to be a little tighter. If it becomes fatter, you can add more links to this. If this was your journal, and this just has one little dangly on here. Sometimes I add more dangly. Sometimes I add things, fabric and ribbon and yarn on these. Lots of different options. So I'm going to take this off. These are Tim Holtz clips that I had. And this is just something from Michael's that I had picked up. So let's see. I'm sorry about the base. I broke my other camera holder and I have to use this one and I don't know how to do it so we don't see this. So I'm sorry about that. I don't feel like I have as much room as I would like. So it is a little chunky. And the reason it's chunky is I have some notebooks I made. And in this art journal, I wanted to have some notebooks that you could pull out. You can tear pages out of it. You can use it to draw on, journal on, collage on. So there's all different size papers in here, all different kinds. This is vintage ledger paper. This ledger is from the late 1800s. I love that ledger. I use it for a lot of my journals. Some school paper. This is out of a lined ledger book, not a ledger for keeping track of your expenses. And then I just added lace. I made a little ruffle. This is like a little piece of, and I'm sure some of my friends would not like this, but it's polyester. But I loved it. I thought it added to this. And then I took a ball pin and just added a couple little buttons. This image is one of our first ladies. I am not sure who. There's a bunch of them throughout this book because I wanted this to be filled with pieces and works of art. And the images that I happened to be drawn to were out of a presidential book that I had. So this is another First Lady. This is a journaling tag, as you can tell. As you can see, I sewed around the whole outside, and then I sewed along the top and sewed along the bottom. And it kind of gives you a place to put a header. Like if you want to put, you're going to write about, or you're going to do an image, and you're out and about, and maybe it's at Hartshorn Pond, right? So you draw an image of the pond here, and then you write where you're at and the date. So I wanted to have lots of spaces for journaling and creating art and collaging. This, I just collaged a piece of file folder, added some of that fabulous tablecloth here. And then this is a vellum flower. And I love, let me see if I can pull this up so you can see this. Hopefully you can see that. I love using vellum flowers, something that I've gotten from Amazon. I love using those. And what I did was I made, again, I used the file folder for my base so that I have a little structure to my pockets throughout the book. And she's layered. She's layered with some cheesecloth and some of that pillowcase, and then added some vintage lace at the bottom. This is handmade paper here. I've got 2 pieces in here. This is so soft. I love the feel of it. This is a heavy cardstock that's coffee stained. This is a piece of paper that is, if you were to buy a box of vintage, maybe from 30, 40, 50s, a box of pictures that were famous art pieces of artwork that could be used to be framed. These papers, these soft papers, little heavier than a tissue paper, but not heavy enough to be a writing paper, is in between each of those images. So I love the feel of it, so I put that in here. This is a coffee stained doily. This is packaging from Amazon, I believe. Another piece of coffee stained cardstock in here. This is kind of if you purchase something from a store, and they wrap up your glass items, your cup or your bowl, like at Home Goods, that's what this is. I ironed it and then trimmed it to put it in the book. This is a new ledger book. I didn't do any collaging here. This is a great place to do some collaging. And I just added some papers that you can use for collaging. This is out of a Yale yearbook from the beginning of the century. This is another piece of that paper that goes between the pieces of artwork. And then I just love this. This is just a calligraphy book that I have. And I thought, wow, this would be fun to have in here to use in different places. The images are great. The writing is fabulous. So I thought that would be fun to add. Those there. Just tuck those back in. If you notice, I've sewn lace, crocheted lace, other kinds of lace. These are all sewn on. I love putting that on my edges. Here's just a image. This is out of the children's art book. I just added this to a piece of, actually, I didn't even put this on anything because I wanted this to just be here, that it could be a tuck or it can be glued down and just an image that you could draw or write around, or you can add something in there if you want. It's soft. It's got the pillowcase in the back and some fun. This is a lace embellishment, and this is part of a doily, and this is a shell bead. And again, some more pieces in here to collage with, some music paper, the paper between the images, and then I love the color of this. And this is just a piece of vintage dictionary page. And then just to continue on, we're in the second part of the first signature. This is that paper that you wrap up your glass items. This is off of a vintage card tablecloth. I left this on here. I love when it hangs off either end. One of our first ladies probably should have made a note of who is who, but I did not. And then I just took this little tag and I just sewed a piece of, this is off of a table runner, a vintage table runner. I just sewed it just here, not around the whole thing, added some washi, and this is a vintage sticker. And she's just layered up on the, with some lace, and I added her to a piece of the file folder, and then I added a little washi. You can't really see, I don't think, in the back. There's some washi, and then there's some music paper behind her. The other side of the doily, and then some more of this. This is a nice big surface to work with. This is navy blue. I may look black, but it is navy blue that I have put on here. And this is a pocket that I made out of a book page. Just folded it up and put a little divot here and added, this is an image out of the art book. And then I collaged this tag. This is from that calligraphy book, added friendship, sewed around it. We've got some cheesecloth. We've got a vellum flower. If you'll notice, I use vellum flowers all over my books. And then I just sewed around. And I love how the sewing made 3 different sections that you could write in some, draw in some, collage, whatever you want. So this is glued down on 3 sides. And the tag goes in the pocket, but you could add something behind it if you wanted to. Just let me get this in here. It just barely fits. Oh my goodness. Sorry to have my hands in the way here. There we go. And then you can add something behind. And this is Tim Holtz vellum paper. We're starting the 2nd signature. I love this vellum paper, so I use this on the outside of the 2nd signature. This is a little baby. Looks like the baby is sitting outside between 2 stones, maybe 2 big leather pillows. And somebody is clearly laying on the ground because this is grass in front of it. But I love this image. I love the colors with the vellum. And then I took some other of his vellum and I made another little removable book with all different kinds of papers in there. Again, you could take the papers out, collage with them. You can use them to draw on, write on, whatever you want. This is just it's almost like construction paper. I'm not sure that it is. I think it's out of a vintage scrapbook. And then we've got coffee stained scrapbook paper. This is vintage writing paper. Some more of that vintage paper that went between the artwork images. Great place to do something unique. If you wanted to write this way, you want to write this way, you want to add pictures, you want to collage. This is coffee stained cardstock. Some more of the lined paper. This is a coffee stained cardstock. This is handmade paper. This is more of the paper that you would find in like an Amazon package. And here we are at the center of the 2nd signature. And I've added a place to write a title if you wanted to. And it's layered up with that pillowcase, cheesecloth, and a piece of a doily. So this, I just made a little pocket. Here, there's some lined paper. You could write on here. You could make a title here. You could write a name, a place, whatever you wanted to. I collaged it and again added a vellum flower. So this is a little paper bag here. You can see that. This is the bottom of the paper bag. And I wanted a little notebook. So I sewed in some pages here. And this is another president's wife. And behind her is some of that tablecloth and some of the pillowcase. And then this is the top of the bag. So I made it a little tuck. And I just sewed some of that tablecloth on and put some washi tape on this heavy cardstock. So this is removable. So we have 3 removable little journals in the larger journal here. Okay, some more of that packing paper. And this is another image that I wanted. This actually came out of the art book. This isn't one of the first ladies. This is from the art book. And I love that she's painting a portrait here. And again, I left this as a tuck so that you could put something behind it. I just wanted to make sure those 2 images, the other one that's of the fruit bowl is like this. I just want to make sure they were in here. And this is some handmade paper. I love the number at the top here of this vintage lined paper. Then this is the other side of the coffee stain cardstock. And this is some crocheted navy blue lace. Another flip out here for a larger surface. This is light blue lace I sewed on there. And then this, I'm going to show you. So this is a card. This is a card. And what I did was I glued, sorry if that was wiggly. I glued the card here and here. And there is a double tuck here. I punched a half hole here so that we could put this paper that opens up. This is just a little rub-on, artsy rub-on. I think it's from Recollections. And then some more rub-ons. And I just folded it, made a little pull tab here with some of the things that are already in the journal. And then we can just tuck that here. And then I took, this is a part of a doily that I cut out to use as a tab. And this is just a journaling tag that you could put anywhere in the journal. You can write on here, you can add to it. I loved the image. I thought this was a great add-on to have in here. I'm just going to tuck this back in, get that in there. There we go. Just put this out a little bit. See that? And then on this side, this one opens out. And I didn't put anything here because I love the look of this vellum. You can definitely add more pockets if you want. And what you're seeing behind is the tags that we made. And then this in here, I just added a few little things. And I paper clipped them in because they didn't really want to stay. This is a card catalog card. I collaged on here, added a little bit of that tablecloth, and then sewed around it. This is a Rolodex card. I sewed around this and just added some washi and a little bit of the not tablecloth, but a doily, and then some washi tape there. So these, and then this is just a little something that you can use, a little please pay cashier. And then I put this in here, and I made sure that this was on the outside because I like the look of that. And then I just added some lace and some of the pillowcase to this paper clip to hold it in place. And then here is the back inside cover, and I have 2 large journaling tags. This is out of the art book. I sewed around the outside of this, added a piece of that doily and some music paper. And then this is out of a journal that was made from heavy handmade paper. And I used the same paper here. This is the silhouette of Mary Todd Lincoln. And she was in the President's book that I was looking at, and I just layered her up on here. I did a little bit of stamping on here. I felt like there was too much white space, and then I added a little bit of the crocheted lace there. And then I collaged the inside flap here. Again, a washi sticker, some music paper, some of the Harper's book is behind here, a little bit of dictionary, and then just a place to journal here, or to add a title if you wanted to. So this is the end of my art journal. I added some fun little danglies on the bottom. See that? I'm hoping it's not too fuzzy. So it says, own your dreams. That's a Tim Holtz. And then there's one that has like a little number. That's a Tim Holtz, some gear, a little gear. Usually try and add a heart and a key. I just like adding that. And then there's just a little bit of bling on there. So I like that, having that coming off the end. Just a nice, fun little element there. So this is my art journal finished. I hope you like it. Look for it in my Etsy shop. It should be going up, if not this weekend, the beginning of next week. So I appreciate you being here. Don't forget to subscribe and have a great day.